What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going to Thailand. I'm going to take you guys to a place that is very fascinating. Check this out. There's a location down here in Thailand, just north of the equator, about 18 degrees, called Three Whale Rocks. And what I've done is put together a slideshow of some of the close-up views of these very interesting rock formations. They almost look like there were three large whales and a small, like baby whale, that were literally frozen in time. So what we're looking at here, obviously, is the view from above. Over here is a side view. And these things do look like, as we're going to go in for a closer look, they do look like they may have been some sort of prehistoric, gigantic whale that, for whatever reason, froze in time literally over here on the top of this mountain, because they do have an uncanny resemblance to whales. That's how they got the name Three Whale Rocks. Let's go in for a closer look. Here we go. We're on top of these what look like petrified whales, and that's what draws people to this location, are their uncanny resemblance to gigantic whales. Look at that. There's looking at the one over on the right, and I measured these things, and they're around 450 to 550 feet long. Looking close at the surface of these things, you can tell they could have been maybe a biological organism at one time. They just don't look like the surface of typical rocks. If you look around, you can see what look like pores. We're going to take a look at some other locations in this area. I mean, this is a fascinating find on Google Earth. Here we go, looking at the front of this one, and notice the resemblance to a giant whale. This is the one that we were just on top of, looking over this way. Now we're looking back at this one. And again, these things are between 450 and 500 feet long. Look at that. People are very drawn to this area, and you can tell by looking at the surface of these rocks. That's what they're calling them, rocks, because they are solidified now. But if you look closely at the surface of what are being called rocks now, you can kind of see how maybe at one time this was skin of possibly a giant whale. That's what they look like. They're shaped exactly like gigantic whales. Here's another look at the backside. Here's a look at the front side, looking in both directions. I mean, these things are absolutely massive. Let's go down and take another view. In fact, we'll look from the ground up. Look at that. And there's nothing else in the area that looks like these. And this one here, over here on the right, looks like a mother whale and then a baby whale next to it. So what I did, I put together a slideshow. I took some screen grabs of the rocks that look like whales, and we're going to go in for a closer look. And I also inserted some actual whales that we have in our oceans today. They're obviously not as big as these, but who knows how old these rock formations are. And maybe they are petrified versions of a once gigantic whale that roamed the earth. I mean, who knows? Anything's possible. But notice the uncanny resemblance. And if you look close, notice the variation in color. That almost reminds me of a pigmentation that maybe was once there that changed colors now. Everything, for the most part, is some sort of a brownish color. The top, you can see what look like maybe pores. You don't see any other features like side fins or a tail or anything like that. Obviously, these things, whatever they were, are very, very old. But they are indeed super, super unique. And thousands of people every year come to this location in astonishment looking at these things, wondering, were these once living creatures that swam in the seas of the earth? And right here is a good example of the color variations on these rocks that they're being called today. Look around here, you'll see about 4 or 5 different colors. To me, the way I look at that maybe was once skin, multiple layers of skin, the outer layer of the skin being the darkest, the brown, and then the deeper you go into the skin, the lighter the color gets. Notice the color variations there. There's probably 4, maybe 5 different colors there. I inserted that whale right there just to show the uncanny resemblance. Look at that. Looks identical, obviously a lot smaller. These things are massive. And again, people are very drawn to this area, taking pictures and just wondering, what are we looking at here? Are these really just random rocks that just so happen to end up the exact shape of a gigantic whale? I mean, really, what are the odds? And here's some sort of what looks like a gash or something in the rock. Makes you wonder how that formed. And again, notice the different color variations. Maybe that occurred when it was softer. I don't know. Everything seems to be hard now. People walk on it, take pictures, and again, it draws thousands of people every year to the location. Right here, this reminded me of the surface of skin. You can see what were once maybe pores and different layers. Looks like it used to be skin. Zoomed in here for a closer look. For the most part, the top part looks like that, and then here's the view from above. That was the bigger one over there that was just over 500 foot. This one here was around 450, and then the smaller one right there was 90 feet. And notice the, again, uncanny resemblance. There's the mother whale, and there's the two baby whales, just kind of like you see right there, like they were frozen in time down in Thailand at the 18-degree north latitude. 3 whale rocks. Let's go in for one more look. We'll go over here to the smaller one and look up at the bigger ones. There you go. We're on the small one now, and there's the big one over there. Were these once massive prehistoric whales that swam in the oceans of Earth and ended up down here at the 18-degree north latitude down in Thailand? They say truth is stranger than fiction, and this might just be one of those examples. Also in this video, I have a brand new picture slideshow by request. Everybody likes the sky phenomena. Dave out of Orlando, Florida, sent in this photo of lightning with a purple and pink sky in the background. What an amazing photo. Speaking of pink, going to San Diego, California, Amber L was driving down the highway and noticed the sky glowing pink over there off in the distance. Maybe a greenhouse of some sort, but either way, the sky was definitely glowing pink. This photo here was sent in by Gary H. The full moon is behind this unique feature in the sky. That's just a random collection of clouds that just so happen to look like a gigantic bird in the sky. Not sure of his location, as he didn't share the location with me, but that was one cool photo. Randall Johnson, another cool photo. It looked like a big mothership coming in for a landing. Here's another cool photo by Sylvia. Look like 2 pancakes sitting up in the sky above her location in broad daylight. Manny out of Reddington Beach, Florida. Check this out. Isn't this wild? This looks like a dollar bill up in the sky. Are you serious right now? You can't make this stuff up. That's a real photo sent in by Manny out of Reddington Beach, Florida. Here's a jumbo halo sent in by Jose R. Not sure of the location, but again, a very cool photo. Next photo was sent in by Bobby of a shadow beam in the sky. That's caused by that contrail right there, casting a shadow through the sky. Mark E. out of Lancaster, California. Check out the giant hand up in the sky, huh? You've got the thumb over here and then 4 fingers. That would be a left hand. How does something like that happen? Here it is in an inverted format. Light is dark, dark is light. There's your fingers and your thumb. Here's another original that I just slightly modified to pull forward what looked like a gigantic hand up in the sky. Great photo out of California. Another great photo here out of Wichita, Kansas, sent in by Vitamin V. Boy, there was a lot going on in this sky here. Mammatus clouds, a lot of contrast, a lot of color as storms were moving through the Wichita area. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.